And I think everyone has their journey. Everyone has that time.
Mhm.
And it's sad that we live in such a distracted environment. We never shut down,
Right.
right? Even if we have a time, we listen to podcasts. We're cooking, we're watching TV. It's just like you just don't sit with yourself. You're still trying to like just consume and consume, and then you forget what your questions were.
Mhm.
What do you need help with? What do you need answers? So I think that just to tap you back into take time, ask questions, and get answers. Because you can't get answers if you haven't started that journey of questions. And again, it comes back to I think the message today is clarity. If you're clear, you're just going to be so content in where you are. That's just like giving you that right to be like, wow, I love myself.
Welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe, where we pour positive back into your day, sharing stories from real people who have made it through some real struggles, but were able to restore their health, hope, and peace. I'm Lisa Roers, your host, and as a certified coach, I'm here to guide you to be your best self-advocate, to help you restore your health, ignite your faith, and conquer those fears while you navigate your own healing journey so you can eventually exchange your dis-ease for durability. If you're looking for hope and encouragement to live a life you love, then you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I'm Lisa Roers, your host, and today we have a wonderful guest who's going to share with us some powerful insights about gaining clarity in our lives and how to harness the power of pause. Dr. Preeti Jha is a doctor of physical therapy, orthopedic and pelvic floor therapist, and a yoga instructor with more than 17 years of experience. Dr. Preeti specializes in helping women over 40 build strength, overcome low energy, brain fog, mood changes, and how to avoid those injuries by focusing on key exercise fundamentals. She blends science-backed training with the wisdom of yoga, mindfulness, and breathwork to ensure that her clients are utilizing proper form so they can avoid injuries and develop the long-term resilience they really want. Dr. Preeti has a very kind and approachable demeanor, and I know you're going to be encouraged by her, so let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I'm Lisa Roers, your host, and I have a beautiful friend with me today. Her name is Dr. Preeti Jha, and we're going to learn about her resilience, the inner work that she did, some of the discipline work that she's done, and how that led her to her dream job and some amazing things in life. And so, Dr. Preeti Jha, welcome to the program.
Hi, nice to be here.
We had a wonderful chat when we first met. So I'd be curious to just maybe as a point of introduction, if you can just tell our listeners a little bit about your path, how you got to where you are, and some of the things that required you to really look inside and do some inner work.
Sure, sure. I'd be happy to. So yeah, this goes back. It's like life story in two parts, right? So the one is the first part where I grew up and I was born in India, in Mumbai. And the second part is when I moved to the US almost 2 decades ago. And I feel like it's kind of like chapter one and chapter two of life, right? So I'll take you to the first chapter where it was kind of that young, youthful growth age where you're just trying to tap the meaning of life. Like, what do I want to do? And what is for me in life? And things like that, which I still question. And then life navigated me to, just have this opportunity, bring me to this country. And I'm the first person in the whole family, being a girl in like early 20s, who's moved to a different country all over across the ocean. So there were a lot of fear around that. But at the same time, it was a very traditional, yeah, like my dad had this dream and, it's like, no, you have to go and learn and things like that. So there were definitely a lot of challenges learning and navigating, but somehow I landed up with the right people. I was not best at choosing the right people, but I always used to ask, please have me the right people around me, because then there would always be this little person who would tap on my shoulder and be like, this is not good. And, it's kind of like I think I've always had that friend in life or mentor. And this is kind of where I am. 20 years later, this feels home now. I've been here so long enough that I love it. And life has been just such a blessing, nothing else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. What were some of the reasons? Was it just for education that you decided to come to the United States?
In the beginning, yes, it was, higher opportunities. I came for my master's and then I did my doctor's. So it kind of was like transitioning from what's next, what's next. And at one point, you realize you can't just grow up vertically, you have to grow laterally. And that's when I was like, what else do I like? And so I shifted in things that I do now where I love what I did. And one thing I've always done, I love helping people. And that's kind of like going back to, we can talk about how I got into the profession I'm in. But from the first memory I have, I'm in high school, and this is back in Mumbai, where it's a big city. I always say, think Chicago and New York and put that together. And that's kind of like that city is. So there's like this part where it's nice and rich, and then there's this part where you just don't know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
And I'm just walking down the street. Someone's walking down to my high school, a blind. I don't even remember it was a boy or a girl. Like, I don't even remember. That's how long ago. And this person was looking for a translator. And I was just like, how can I help you? And then I come home, and again, I don't remember the reservations. And my parents were like, you have your own test. How are you going to help this person translate to right? Because they didn't just have the means to help. And I think the blind student was looking for someone to translate the whole test paper. And that is my first memory of like, what do you want to do? And it's like, I don't know, but I just want to do something for other people. So it's kind of like that to today. That's what I do. That's
Mhm.
kind of what my life has been. It just been blossomed differently into different shapes and different things I do. But that's kind of where I feel like that part in India to what I do now hasn't changed.
Because that's the core of who you are. You love to help people.
Yeah, I think so.
Wonderful. Well, and today you are a physical therapist and you help all kinds of different people work through their physical needs. How did you decide on that profession?
So I actually started out with engineering, which is another interesting thing because everybody in my family is an engineer. So I just went and started doing engineering. And then 6 months into it, I had a phone call with my dad. Oh, how's it going? And I'm like, I do not like this. The more I think, I was like, I am not a person who can sit behind a cubicle all day. I have a different purpose. And this is me at like 18, right? So like
Mhm.
you're so young, but there was something just again tapping on my shoulder saying, mm-mm. And I'm so grateful for my dad. He's like, just come back. And my mom's going crazy. Like, what? It's just like, being like, she's coming home. She's already in college. Anyways, fast forward, I take physical therapy. I'm in first week of my class. And one of the professors, till date, again, I remember, he said something. He's like, this is what we do. And he's showing some skills as a therapist. I'm like, this is what I always wanted to do. And that was another big moment of transition where I never felt that this was not the profession.
Mhm.
It grew on me. I just love helping people. I just love seeing them walk and get strong and just be their best version. And again, that was 24 years ago, that first moment until today. I've always felt like, wow, it's so amazing to see with the confidence you can give someone to look ahead. And
Yes.
that's kind of where it shaped my getting in physical therapy.
Sure, sure. Well, action is what brings us clarity. And so you really needed to take those few classes of engineering before you understood and before it was revealed what you really wanted to do.
Oh,
And now
I'm
you
so
are,
grateful.
yeah, exactly. And now you are Dr. Preeti and you're helping your clients and you're feeling really aligned with what you're supposed to do in life. Now, there are some other things that you did along the way to do some personal inner work that you had shared with me. Tell me a little bit about some of that.
So yeah, it was funny because like I said, I came to the US, I think 24 at the time. And I was the first girl in the whole family. My grandma is going crazy. Like they're like, you don't send a girl without her being married. And so as I moved in this country, all I heard about was like, find somebody. And everybody was trying to set me up. And so funny enough, I went through this journey of really bad dates and not even relationship, but just bad experiences, like nonstop. And a lot of people might resonate with this, like you're the only one left. Like all your friends are probably married, all your, they're just where they wanted to be. And I'm like, I'm just not gonna do it because that's what everybody's doing. I still have that thing. I don't know how to choose the right people. Just send me the right person. And I kept going with that. And there was a time I was just by myself. I used to live in the Midwest at the time. And I started going Google and I'm like, self realization. Like, how do I have the self realization of who's the right person? What's the right job? Like, where am I? And to my surprise, I was an hour away from where I used to live, and it was this little center. I'm driving there with all these questions, and like I've been to retreats before. So I'm thinking it's like this big retreat place, at the end of the day on a weeknight, I'm going. So I'm hungry, and they advertise there's food. And I'm going
Was
like,
it like a spa resort or what was this that you were going to?
exactly. That's what I thought. I thought it's just going to be like this one big thing. And there's going to be all these mentors and going to ask me questions and I'm done and I can eat some good food and I come back.
Okay, but this was
Right.
all on your journey of trying to get clarity on who you were.
Yeah, so on the
Okay.
drive, it's like 60 miles. It took me 62 minutes. I still remember it was a fall October Midwest. So it's beautiful. And I'm driving, and I almost missed the turn because it said, you're here. I'm like, where? There's nothing here. And I land up in this old house. And I'm almost concerned. And I turn back and I do see a little sign by the tree and it says self-realization center. And I'm like, okay, might as well just knock the door, right? So I knock the door, and this pleasant lady comes in and she basically sends me to this meditation room because she was with another client or something. And I'm like, do I place my order right now? Because by this time, I've treated probably, I don't know, 12, 13, 15 patients. I'm hungry. And I'm like, when do I order food? So then my turn comes, and this is not needed to say, but it's just like you're so at this moment, you're like, what? Why am I here? And I'm supposed to pay money.
Yeah.
And I go and I sit with her, and she's like, why are you here? And I tell her where I am, what I'm looking for. And then I say in between, can I order food? And she's just like laughing. And she goes, you did not tell me ahead of time. I'm the only person who lives here. So I didn't prepare anything. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay, fine. And I would talk. And then they say, how do I know? And she goes, this is my changing moment in my life. She'll say, when you leave, you will know. And I'm like, wait, you're not even giving me the answer to what I came here for?
Mhm.
Okay. And I go back hungry. So I'm definitely not happy leaving. I leave and then I still remember this place. So this is Michigan. And if anybody's lived in Michigan, they have the weirdest left turn. They call like the Michigan turn. So I'm taking this like J turn and I'm turning and I just have this clarity. I'm very close to my brother, and when I called him and I'm like, how did this happen? Like, who told me? I have no idea. And seriously, that was the day, October of 2012. And of course, we can talk how I have built to now having my own clarity, but something happened in that moment. And I think she just tapped on my inner self and something came out of me. I'm so thankful for that moment. The vision was so clear. I never had to look back. I had to
That's
work on me, yes, because every day we wake up, we have a new question and we need to answer those questions. But just taking me to that moment of like, you know the answer. Nobody's going to tell you the answer. So every time
exactly.
somebody tapped on my shoulder, it was me asking, and like this is so shall you receive. You gotta ask to get the answer. So I think it was me asking, had to go through that journey of, 60 minutes back and forth and be like, I'm hungry, but I still need that answer.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was life changing.
Such a beautiful story. And I think we have the answers inside of us, but we often need to give ourselves the environment, the quiet that we need to really let it surface. It doesn't surface in the hustle and bustle of a downtown Mumbai or downtown New York or Chicago. You really need to get yourself into a quiet space and ask the questions and let the answers bubble up.
Yeah. And I think everyone has their journey, everyone has that time.
Mhm.
And it's sad that we live in such a distracted environment. We never shut down,
Right.
right? Even if we have a time, we listen to podcasts. We're cooking, we're watching TV. It's just like you just don't sit with yourself Even people when they're in the bathroom, that's like that alpha wave moment. You should not do anything except being in the shower, but you're still trying to just consume, and then you forget what your questions were.
Mhm.
What do you need help with? What do you need answers? So I think that just to tap you back into take time, ask questions, and get answers. Because you can't get answers if you haven't started that journey of questions.
Yeah, that is so true. And I think, everything's learned. And so it takes time to teach yourself to sit in a quiet room. I mean, how many people can actually do that and feel comfortable with no music, no podcast, no nothing else going on, just sit in a quiet room? It's really unnerving to some people to sit in such a quiet space.
And I think it's that, not to use like a negative word, but inner demons come out because your fears are so high. That's research says that we have such a strong negativity bias as humans. The first thing we think, everybody, including me, and I'm sure everyone, is something negative will happen out of it. Like, will
Mhm.
I find the right person? No, I won't. Will I find the right job? No, I won't, and then that whole transformation is kind of like giving that quiet time, sitting down and writing down and how you change that mindset to positive mindset. And that's kind of what happened there. I think when I started to share my story, all the negativity was dumped. And so I was only left with what do I really want though? Okay, I'll get that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, and I guess some of that negativity makes sense because it's a good self-preservation. If your body and your mind is ready for all the negative, then you're gonna live through it. But it does take some training to look for the positive in something. And then I can have just picture that drive in the beautiful fall season of Michigan where the trees are changing. And I'm sure that was transformative in a few different ways for you.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, it's lovely. I kept going back. Interestingly, I'm still in touch with my mentor from miles away. And there are times when I need more help than other times when I'm so confused. And I feel like everyone needs to have that one person. And it could be you going to where you pray, going to a friend, a therapist, whatever it looks like to someone, but we all need that. We all need that unbiased person that it's not your spouse, your mom, your who will have that strong, belief in something. And they're like, no, you should not do that.
Mhm.
Before even you present it. So you're like, okay, I think she knows or he knows. And so we all just need that. And that's why I still have in touch with my mentor because even today, and her, the only thing she asked, like, what do you want help with? Right? And so it's kind of like my brain, and I'll be like, this is not what I wanted to talk about, but I am because there was something on the surface, which again, we are so distracted, we are not listening to what it was. And once that is out, then clarity comes.
Exactly. You're right. And that trusted advisor that you're talking about is able to see that because we can't read the label when we're inside the jar,
Love
right?
that.
So
Yes.
a trusted advisor like that will be able to see, oh, I see something else is going on here. And they'll be prompted to ask the questions that we might not have considered because our brain is overcome by all the other questions that we have on our mind.
Yes. Totally. Totally.
Okay. Well, Dr. Preeti, now you are a physical therapist and you're working with patients and helping them regain their life and their strength. And if I can just bring it up, tell me a little bit about your meditation chair.
So this goes back to the same big, institute, right? So I realized there were some tools that I learned that first day. And till date, those are the only tools I have. There's nothing else that I've learned. I have grown and I've acquired new knowledge why I do what I do. But it's like starting to go to the gym, right? What do we need? We need new clothes, new shoes, just to kind of get us geared up. So to me, this institute, their sister or master institute was in the UK. And they all had this meditation chair. So every time I went there and I would sit in this meditation room and I just started loving my chair. And I said, I want to buy this chair. And I could not justify, not financially, but just logically because it was almost like $300, converting the pounds to dollars. And I'm like, $300 for a chair? Like, how do you justify that to yourself? So I love doing challenges and I love challenging my own self for every belief. Like I want to break a belief, I'll challenge myself. And I've done that for so many different things. And I said, if I can meditate every day, 30 minutes morning, 30 minutes evening, so that's like 50 cents per 30 minutes for 1 year, that's like 365. I will justify this chair for 1 year. And I mean, 12 years later, I still meditate. So it's way beyond what I have paid for. It's like a house, you paid
Yes.
off the house. Um, but I still sit there and I think everybody needs that space.
Hmm.
So to me, this is the third home that chair has been to. And it's still, but to me, the chair is what creates that energy now, right? Doesn't matter how many houses it's been to. It's still as beautiful as it was. And to me, it's like the moment I sit in, I get clarity because I think my mind is so tuned now
Hmm.
that what am I dealing with? What are my questions? What do I need to work on? And then I use my tools to connect the dots and boom. If I can do 30 minutes, I get answers for everything. If I do 5 minutes, I'm just helping myself to get into it, but I try every single day to get on that chair, every single day.
That is such a beautiful reminder of just how much our space matters. I love
Mm.
that. They say you're never supposed to do awake things when you're lying in bed. Because, like,
Yes,
not even reading in bed because you're teaching your brain to stay awake while you're in that space. So
exactly.
you have trained your brain to be in a state of meditative calm when you're sitting in that chair. And like you said, no matter which house you go to, you've got that chair to go back to. I think I need to employ that same kind of discipline with some of the other things I've purchased. Like, how about my exercise machine? I have to use it so many hours a day or
Yeah.
hours a week in order
That's
to.
that's kind of what I do with my exercises. So I always challenge myself, and because I teach women how to get strong, I need to be stronger, right?
Right.
So if I'm not a stronger woman, how am I going to preach women to be strong? They need to see me. And that's kind of my challenge to myself every week. I have to get 3 times strength training because
Yes.
yes, by research, that's true. Yes, that's my kind of like second job, but I need to feel that what I'm going to teach them, right? So
Yeah.
if I don't know, yes, with my clinical expertise, I understand what they're going through,
Hmm.
but I need to be in their shoes, like literally, and for my well being. So that's kind of my challenge. And of course, there are moments, some challenges are hard, some are not. Uh, and people do it differently, right? Some people just need a different kind of boost. So finding your own boost, I think, is important than using the word challenge because I think it does bring a little negative tone to it sometimes.
Yeah, reframing it for some people might be necessary, but finding whatever it is that helps to motivate you. I know some people are motivated by chaining days. Like, I've got 5 days in a row I've done this. I got to do another day, or I'll lose my chain
Yeah, I
of
love that.
successes. That's another way to do it, and maybe a different spin on it. But you're being a great role model for your patients by modeling the behavior you want them to eventually adopt as well.
Yeah. And I see that even our friends, right? It's not like I am, and I want to don't use beauty as beauty perspective, but it's not like I'm the most beautiful woman or the best in shape. But I think they see that inner beauty reflecting then how happy I am with who I am,
Yeah.
right? It's like, what are you doing? Doing what everybody should do or are doing. I'm just so content. I'm where I need to be. And the days I'm not, that's where I get into my challenge mode. But I'm not beating myself for being somebody else or another version. That's probably not even possible. My life went through this kind of trajectory of some, let's say, sadness, some very uplifting moments, and when some surge. And I can't change that. And the marks are going to be in my body, right? On my face, on my body, whatever, being a mom and all of that. So I feel like we forget that sometimes because we just look for, I want to be this, I want to be this weight, I want to look strong. But then we are not ready to accept this right now.
Mm.
And again, it comes back to, I think the message today is clarity. If you're clear, you're just going to be so content in where you are, that's just giving you that right to be like, wow, I love myself, and that's what I do. I know we were sharing that every morning, kind of like having that gratitude practice, right? So again, 12 years back, it was like a long list of stuff that I would do. And now I don't have time. So I do this like quick 10-minute thing and maybe sometimes it's 15. But I don't leave my bed till I have all my gratitude words in my brain. So I
Mm.
am still with my eyes closed, my brain's awake, and sometimes I have little kids, so they will sneak in our bed most of the nights. And then I am looking at them and I'm like, thank you so much. Just for this moment that I share this bed with this little kid or my husband or just this house. And the moment I do that, 99% of the times I start my day so well. And
Hmm.
there are, of course, times you wake on the wrong side of the bed and you just have that fear and anxiety. And that's the day I want to make sure that I work out or I meditate, right? Because when you are in a profession where you have to give, you have to be the giver in the right way. Because if I can give the right way, I'm not only changing people physically, I'm changing people mentally. I'm empowering women. I'm trying to make them the best version. If I don't feel the best version, I
Yeah.
can never spread that to other women.
So
Yeah.
true. So true. And you don't have to be a doctor of physical therapy to have that perspective because really any parent is helping their children become the best version of themselves and they are required to serve or a teacher or there's so many professions that require us to give of ourselves, but if we're not empowering ourselves and we're not taking care of our own self, it's really hard to give from an empty cup.
It's so true. Yeah. Yeah. Let it pour enough that you don't know when you are in the moment that somebody needed an extra little hug and
Right.
you're ready for that. Yeah.
Yes. And I love that you start your day with gratitude because that gives you the ability to be present with your patients and your clients to really be alert and aware of what's going on with them because you yourself have so much clarity and you're grounded, you're in such a good space that you're able to pour into them.
Yeah, I'll say one more thing. What I do, because I'm playing different roles, like most of us humans, every time I do a shift, and that's again something that I learned over the years, where when you transition, you need to take a little moment of pause. And that's kind of what I preach now, that power of pause, where from me driving to work to coming home, I am playing different roles and I'm a clinician, I'm a coach. I have this like strict mode, but maybe that's not what my child needs that day. I don't need to be a teacher when he's already come from school, right? Or I don't need to be the teacher to my husband. So it's kind of like so important to change roles during day. And you need to take that power of pause with maybe a 3 quick breath. And you're like, okay, I'm entering my clinic. Okay, I'm entering this call. Let me take a little break in this moment. Can I be present for everybody who comes in? And so I do that. I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but most of the time, especially when I'm going through a hard time. And I think that's what's important, right? Because as a provider, you are so open in space. Sometimes you may have given so much. By the time you come home, you have nothing to give back. And so that unbinding principle, trying to be present where you are, taking a power pause, all of this is so very important on an everyday basis to just be your best selves. And it's like, how can you be like this every day? Because you've already taken time for yourself every day.
Yes. Oh, that is so beautiful, especially because we have so many people now who are working from home. And
Mhm.
so people need to take up that power of pause between their office and the kitchen when they end their
Oh, okay.
day. I used to have a commute where I was able to do that real, quite a deep power of pause because I had about a 40-minute drive. But without that, I really need to implement that even in my working from home situation because you're right. We wear different hats throughout the day. So it's important that we can take a pause and take a breath
Yeah.
and move into that transition. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I live by that, and like I said, may not be every day because I may have a difficult day one of these days, right? So it's
Exactly.
hard. In fact, my last job, my drive was 3 minutes. I never
Oh,
got to unwind. So I literally always took time in my garage before I left the car. And I saw the difference because the days I didn't, because I'm already running late, I want to be present, I want to get the kids out of the bus, whatever that was. I was not the best mom or the best wife or the best self than the days I took the time because I'm like, okay, this was done. Let's go on. What do I need? How do I fuel myself before I give energy to other people?
that is amazing. That's amazing. Let's just for a second, how would you recommend somebody implement the power of pause if they haven't done it yet?
So there are two ways. The way the real principle power of pause is basically if you heard someone say something and your general reaction is reacting to that, you take a pause. So basically, you take a nice deep breath. It could be And no, people don't like sighing, but sighing is so important for your brain, right? That's a physiological sigh. It's a natural thing to get that oxygenated blood back to your brain. But in that moment, you don't have to make it look like, oh, I'm going to answer this question. But power pause is just listening without reacting right then. Take like that 2-second break. So that's like in the moment, power of pause, right? Then the unwinding would look like, let's say I'm in the car, rather than just like getting out, maybe I'm listening to something and just with that, I grab my bag and I'm back in my house. But rather than that, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I had a great day. I'm glad I had a difficult day, but you know what? I can't have a difficult day at home now. And that's the power of pause where
Mm.
take some deep breathing. Like three deep breath. We take anyways, but present breath, right? Feel it in your belly. Feel
Mm.
it in your body. See where you're feeling uncomfortable. Like you can tell, is it in my hips, in my heart, in my belly, in my brain? Because my brain is racing so much. I'm so angry at this person, for example. But in the moment, just give them grace for what they did, for what their reason was. I can't bring that anger here. So the moment you did that, you actually solved that problem in the moment, right? Because when you go back, whatever that problem was, you can deal then. You don't have to bring that home. So for what the unwinding is, take that power of pause, take few deep breaths and be like, okay, phone is shut. I'm not listening to anything. Car, where's my keys? Like feel physically, where are those? And then walk inside the house.
Mm.
And the moment you just shifted whole personality, whole energy, and now you're again the best version. Maybe you're coming home to yourself. Be the best version to yourself. Rather than you end one and you start and you have no discrimination between the end of the day to the start of a new evening.
When you're talking about this, Dr. Preeti, I am seeing this beautiful gate, like this beautiful gate. And it allows me to pause and just look at this beautiful gate. And then when I am ready, open the gate and walk through it instead of
I
just plowing right into the room, right?
I love that. I love that. And sometimes it does help. I mean, I love reading, just encouraging stuff or whatever. I love writing stuff all over, and I think if that's what it is, if you love yourself, put a mirror as you enter, like you see, you give that smile to yourself, that's like the first thing you saw. Whatever is your thing, do that.
Yeah.
And going back to the gratitude, whatever is your thing, put that on the mirror. Like just say that, even if you don't have anyone to like, I don't know, I'm not there yet to give gratitude, fine.
Yeah.
Give it to yourself at least,
Right.
you
And
know?
sometimes we're not going to get to that place of gratitude until we remind ourselves of the good things.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah,
That's so good.
definitely.
I love it. I love it. Tell us a little bit about this offering you have coming up and some of the things that you are doing for your clients.
Yes, so I'm doing a boot camp for any and every woman who wants to begin strength training. So again, the women I work with, they have an injury or they are in that perimenopause, menopause phase where they just don't have the energy. They have all these mood changes. They are on medication. They just have such a busy schedule that they're like, I know the importance of why I should become strong. I don't want osteoporosis. I don't want fractures. I don't want falls. Want to look good. I want weight loss, but they just are not starting.
Hmm.
So this boot camp, 3 days, I'm actually going to show them that they can. We're gonna do real exercises, but then I'm gonna show them key principle. Like I like to teach that you're never gonna forget why I should do a certain exercise and not forget how my knees are, my back is, my chin is. And that is so important because then doesn't matter where you exercise, you're never gonna forget those principles. And that
Mm.
goes back to that clarity, like, oh, this is why my neck should be this way. This is what I need to do with my belly to not have back pain. So what we're gonna do for these 3 days is kind of like work on the brain and work on the body, work on the brain, work on the body. Because if you don't believe you can, you won't. So that's the mind part. But then every 3 days for 1 hour, like power pack, we're gonna just go do exercises, do a lot of mind work, like why you haven't been able to, how much time do you need to dedicate to get back into making your stronger version. So it's a 3-day boot camp. Anybody can join. Even women who are exercising and they keep getting hurt. They keep
Mm,
pausing their membership. They keep pausing their trainers. I want them to come and join this challenge just to be like, oh, this is the missing piece because they did not know this. So that's kind of one. I want everyone to be so strong that they feel internally and externally their best version.
that is great. I assume you're doing it online then, so people could join.
Online, yes. It is
Okay.
all on virtual because I have people coming from everywhere who take time, out and do this. And especially if they can do live, it's just a different energy. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah, and you can add questions and you can put comments in there and really be part of the community, which is what really keeps us on track. So the community will be really helpful there.
Yeah. And, it goes back to the starting that I said, I want to give everyone that clarity that I had on that route that I came back from the center, coming back home and just moment, oh, I should do this. This is
Mhm.
important. It's not going to be another day, another season, another year that you need to start. You got to start basic. You got to start simple. The complex it is, the complex things it brings. So, how about keep it simple, right? So,
Mhm.
that's really what I want everyone to take out from this 3-day boot camp.
That's gonna be great. I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be wonderful.
Thank
Um,
you.
Tell our listeners where they can find you. Whether they're able to do the boot camp or not, we'll make sure we put the links in the show notes, but if they wanted to reach out to you, how would they find you?
So, I definitely hang out a lot on Instagram. It's Pure Rehab Yoga. Find me on Instagram. I am on Facebook. I have the same page. And you can subscribe to YouTube and you're going to hear more about this.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Dr. Preeti, I am so grateful for your time today. Thank you for being with us and sharing with us your wisdom and very practical, actionable things that we can even do today to create those good boundaries and separators between the different roles that we play. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this invitation. Thank you.
Dr. Preeti is a wealth of information. I have 6 practical takeaways for you today. Number 1, the power of pause. Dr. Preeti highlights the transformational impact of implementing the power of pause between transitions throughout our days. Whether we're moving from work to personal things or shifting between different roles within those areas, these small moments of pause, sometimes even as simple as 3 deep breaths, allows us to clear our minds, refocus, and show up fully in each part of our life so we can be truly present and engaged in the moment with whoever we might be with. Number 2, clarity leads to contentment. Achieving clarity in life allows us to be content with where we are, which contributes to our overall well-being and our self-love. Clarity allows us to feel at peace with ourselves. Number 3, the importance of asking questions. By continually asking ourselves questions, we can find the answers and learn more about our own needs and desires. Dr. Preeti shared her very personal journey of recognizing that something wasn't quite right in her life. She had to keep asking those questions so she could excavate her own truths. Number 4, transformation through mindset. Rewriting our mindset from negative to positive does require a lot of intentional reflection. And Dr. Preeti talks about how journaling and sharing her story really helped her shift her mindset and see the positive. Embracing this kind of transformation is key to our own growth. Number 5, the need for an unbiased person. It's essential to have someone in your life, whether it's a trusted friend or a therapist or counselor, but somebody who allows us to process and gain clarity without bias. Sometimes our parents or close friends may unintentionally influence our decisions based on their own biases or their own familiarity with us. And this advice is often shaped by what they think we can accomplish. While their input is so very helpful and really appreciated, it can also really limit our potential. So, in addition to their feedback, seek out someone who can offer unbiased insights, helping you break free from the limitations and truly unlock your full potential. And number 6, gratitude as a daily practice. Dr. Preeti practices gratitude first thing in the morning, often with her eyes still closed, lying in bed. This moment of reflection helps her set the tone for a positive day and cultivates contentment and peace. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please share this episode. You just never know what kind of encouragement might be in this conversation that someone else you know needs to hear. So pass it along, share it, like it, and subscribe. Let's work together to flood this world with more encouragement. Until next time, my friends, stay encouraged, be inspired, and we'll see you right back here next time at the Sunshine Cafe.